Here we go. John and I happen to be in the same spot today. We're in our Gateway office in Fort Myers. John drove up from Naples for another meeting. And so welcome to Mastery with Denny Grimes, Mastery Real Estate. And we're doing question-based listing enhanced conversations. Now, I will start with a little market tidbit. So as you know, if you've been on the calls.
The sky is falling, right?
No, the sky's not falling yet. However, you might be interested to know that I track the sales, at least in our area, and I think we're finding in around the country. We just had the third month in a row where sales were falling. So I want you guys to be aware of that because I know there's a change in the marketplace out there. Now, I've talked about this before. September numbers are just out and was a slight decrease of about 6%. What I want you to know, though, is this, and this is the important thing, because buyers out there, when they start hearing the news, they're going to be believing the market is slow. It is slower than what it was. It's not slow. And so the sales, although we're down year over year 6%, they're about 20% higher than what they were in 2019. So the market is still moving quickly. It's just not as quickly. So be prepared for those headlines that seemingly will be negative. However, I want you to understand that they're not really negative. So I see we got Alaska on, and if you can, get your cameras on. And before we get started, I got my co-host John here, and of course, Sunny is running the show behind us. We're all in the same spot today. Are there any particular requests that we, we can be like a piano player? Do you have any requests? Put $1 in the bowl. We'll play your favorite song. Is there any request that you have that you would like to cover today?
I guess I do kind of like what you mentioned with this house sales kind of lowering. Some of the first time home buyers are like, if I wait a few more months, it might go a little bit lower, but they're not really kind of getting the gist of what low means is from what my take is.
And remind me, where are you?
I'm in Scottsdale. I'm at the Scottsdale Marketplace.
Okay, awesome, Joe. All right, we can cover that with a buyer standpoint. Any other request? Oscar, nice. Elizabeth. All right, so we were John, why don't you go ahead? We were talking with our team in the last couple of weeks. We've been working on going deep with questions. So why don't you lead off with something like that and get somebody, let's get our role play juices loosened up here.
All right. Appreciate that, Denny. Thank you. So what we're going to do is we are going to go around the horn, and I'm going to give an objection, and everybody has to come up with a question to get me to think deeper about my objection. Now, here's the thing. You can't repeat the questions. All right. So I will give the objection. I'm going to call out a name. Have your question ready. You might want to have two, because if the person before you goes ahead and asks that same question, you're going to be left out there hanging. So for starters, Jill, I'm going to have you answer this first. Excuse me. And we're going to go right into a buyer wanting to wait. So you know what, Jill? I think the prices are going to come down. Should I wait?
No, John, I don't believe you should wait. It's still, it's still a hot market. Maybe not.
Ask me a question.
Just a question. We're not telling.
Ask a question. Why do you believe the prices are going down?
Excellent. Oscar, you're on mute, buddy.
That's what I was going to ask.
Guess what? She beat you to it.
Yeah.
It's okay. Let me give you a hint. Okay, so she's not answering the question. Well, what else have you heard? There's another question.
Cheryl.
And where are you getting your information from?
Perfect.
Okay, that's awesome.
You're calling on me?
Yep, you're up, Cheryl.
What indicators in the market do you feel have given you that?
Liliana.
Do you think this market is with you or against you?
Moses.
Sorry, I'm still taking notes. Can you skip me this once?
you go. There's a light. You have to get some light on you.
He's like that every week. All right, now we're going to the non-cameras. Matthew Sharp. John Eccles. Elizabeth Lawson. These are our lurkers. Carla.
You guys don't be shy.
All right, Alaska, come up with a question.
What's important to you about the property you're buying?
Okay. What other questions could you ask a buyer who's got an issue with pricing?
I guess, what's your motivation?
Are you paying cash or financing?
What are you renting now or do you own?
What school district do you want to be in?
And how long do you think the market's going to, when do you think the market's going to go down? How far down is it going to go? When's the right time to buy? When will you feel comfortable stepping into the market?
What interest rate do you have? What interest rate would you like? Are they working for you, against you?
So there is really no
Light
end.
went off with Liliana. Look at that smile.
There's really no end to the number of questions you can ask. And remember, now notice that even when we started out, we'll go back into the role play. Jill, you brought this up. So why don't you be the buyer? Why don't you be the buyer and I'll lead off and other people can step in. Again, this is how we learn, you guys, okay? So you just can't watch Tom Brady and be a good quarterback. You have to be willing to throw a football every now and then and loosen up. By the way, did you see the game? Yes, we won. All right, so Jill.
I won no matter what.
And how about the Cardinals? Are the Cardinals 4-0? Is that right? Or they lose? All right, so Jill, you ready?
Yes.
Unmute. And your buyer said what to you?
My buyer says, hey, I think I just want to wait a little bit because I know the prices are kind of going down. So I believe in the next 6 months, I probably can get better pricing for my home, for my time to buy.
Okay, and so you say you know that the prices are going down?
That's what I heard. You know, I have a friend that's in real estate and he says, you know, he just doesn't have as many offers on some of the homes that he's selling. So that's my belief. Yes.
So, okay, so let me ask you this. What are you doing now? Do you own or are you renting right now?
You know what? I'm just staying with my parents.
Okay, and how is that?
It's rough. It stinks. I really don't like it, but I feel like the rents are kind of high and I just wanted to wait to buy before I went into an apartment.
I got that. And how will you feel if your friend is wrong and prices aren't going down, they're actually going up? How will you feel about that?
Yeah, pretty rough. I thought I should have bought 2 years ago and I didn't, and I'm sitting in this situation. So yeah, I'd hate it.
So if you could have basic a DeLorean and with a flux capacitor and you could go back 2 years, would you have bought 2 years ago?
Yep, should have. Yeah.
And so let me ask you then, let's say in the next month, you find that prices don't go down. What will be your thinking?
Maybe I better buy. Why wait? Because yeah, nobody knows the future and I don't want to live with mom and dad forever.
Right, I get it. And you know what? I can show you basically the prices have not slipped yet. How home sales have slowed a little bit, but prices have not eroded. So let me ask you, I guess it's really the question of greater pain. You're living with your parents and that's got to be stressful, right?
Yes, not fun.
So my question is this. When you let's assume you step in and you buy this home, how long are you going to own it?
You know, I don't know. I thought, you know, at least 5 years, maybe.
So you're not buying it to flip it, right?
No.
So if that's the case, you're going to be there 5 years, maybe even more. Do you think any type of short-term fluctuation in the market, is that significant or not?
You know, I never thought of it that way. Not really. If I'm not going to buy, why would I be worried about it? Yeah.
I mean,
Or if I'm not going to sell. Yeah, if I'm not going to sell, why would I be worried about? Yeah, no, I never thought of it that way.
So I guess your choice is what's your greater pain? You step into the market right now, and let's say it continues to go up. I'm sorry, it goes down after you buy. How do you feel then versus you don't buy because you think it's going to go down and it goes up? Which one is your greater pain?
My greater pain is probably missing the mark. and not buying, and then the prices go higher.
So wouldn't it make sense that we actually get serious about it right now?
Yeah, before the rates go up. Yeah, I think so. I think we should just do it.
So you guys can come off mic or you can chat. Do you think basically that was a realistic role play? Hey, Shefra, we'll be talking later, okay? Do you think that was a realistic role play? Was she
That was
too nice?
incredible.
Who said that?
Moses.
Moses, you're always so nice. Was she too nice?
I was too nice. I was too easy, but I don't want to be passive aggressive.
Why? That's real world. I mean, there's angry people in this world.
It is. But I think last week I was kind of passive aggressive on a role play, and I was thinking maybe I should play nice. I don't know.
So why don't you put in the chat, you guys, scale of 1 to 10, 1 meaning you want her to be a marshmallow. And we can do this again. We can have somebody else do it. And 10 would be Freddy Krueger. You want her to be Freddy Krueger, put in a 10. Or if you like Jason, the mask, I think he wears the hockey mask, right? I always get them mixed up. What would you like to see? Put it in the chat. How tough would you like to see the role play? So
I always enjoy role plays that are cutthroat.
Oh, you want to do a 10. What else? Matthew, you have anything to say? I see a 9 from John.
Yeah, they got to be cutthroat, man. Like extremely aggressive. I've got it on my daily calendar. Aggressive role play.
All right. Well, who's got that gear? Who was maybe a New England fan is still a little bit burned about that missing that field goal, that clunker off the goalpost, and has some frustrations you'd like to get rid of? We need a frustrated buyer. Who wants to take it to a level 9? Nobody?
I can redo it. Trust me, I can go hard. I was just
All right.
All right.
Jill, you go, and I'll let John do the hard stuff.
okay.
So you want me being the agent now?
Yeah, I want the easy stuff. You can do the hard stuff.
All right, cool.
Let's just assume you're starting from where we left off, so we don't have to repeat all that stuff.
Right.
Okay, got it. Yes.
All right. So Jill, we know that it's going to be more painful for you to find out a couple months down the road that this house is going to cost you more versus if you were to buy it now and maybe the prices adjust a little bit. Tell me more.
I'm still not comfortable. I still think the prices are way too high. It got out of hand this year, and I think it's going to go down. These prices still can't stay this way. We've seen it before, and I think real estate agents are kind of lying to me when they think, oh, it's not going to keep going down and it'll never have a 2008 again. I don't believe it, and I think it's going to crash.
Excellent.
And I want to wait.
I can absolutely appreciate that. Other than that, is there any other reason why you still want to keep living with your parents?
Well, it's free rent, and I'd rather have free rent than the inflated prices that are going with homes right now. I mean, my average home, I can't even buy anything for $380,000, and I'm not willing to go that high. It's uncomfortable.
So remind me again, are you paying cash or financing?
I would have to be financing.
Okay. So when you come up with a number of 380,000, how did you arrive at that number?
Because I've gone out there for a little bit, and everything I can't get into a house, and I don't want to go higher. I think it's ridiculous that I have to spend that much for a house. I mean, I know it's going to drop, and I'm going to wait until they're at least 300,000 again.
Okay, terrific. And just a quick question: do you follow stock market or interest rates or inflation or anything like that?
No, I don't. I'm just, hearsay from a lot of friends that are looking at homes, and nobody can get into a home right now. And why would I be in the hurry to go get myself stretched and kind of go above my price range just to get into a home that's overpriced?
That's a great point. I wouldn't want you to pay more for a house than it's worth. So the question comes down to is, do you think interest rates are going to stay at this historic low forever?
No, I don't believe that. No.
Okay. So if you can get into a home where the interest rates are 3% versus getting into a home where the interest rates are 4, 4.5, or 5%, which is more along with historic norms, which do you prefer?
Well, of course I prefer, a lower rate, of course, but that's not my issue. My issue is the prices are kind of high, and I'd rather wait until they're a little bit lower because I want to know what my house values for. I don't want to buy a home regardless of my interest rate, and then I have no value in that home because they dropped $100,000 based on past experiences.
Okay, no problem. So back to how long are you going to own the home for? Remind me, how old are your kids?
You know, I don't have any kids yet. I think probably at least 5 years, you know, and then, yeah.
Okay. So do you think that the value of real estate, whether it's here in Scottsdale or anywhere else in the country, rises or falls completely predictably?
No, of course not, John. I mean, we all don't have crystal balls. I get that. But I do believe, that's my belief, that the prices are way too high, and I'd rather wait it out and see, and thinking that they're going to come down a little bit. I've already seen that in the market, that people are not getting what they have out there to offer, and they're already lowering. And I want to wait until they lower a little bit more so I can afford the home.
Okay. So, you come back to affording the home again.
30 seconds.
So if it costs you more per month to buy a home because interest rates have gone up, you end up buying less of a home than you can afford now. So how do you win in that scenario?
You know, that's a good point too, John. But I guess my biggest fear is buying a house for 400,000, and then before you know it, it's worth only 320. Regardless if I'm going to keep it for 5 years or not, it's just not a good feeling knowing I paid this much for this house.
Okay, so it sounds to me like you are in a better situation staying with your parents and trying to figure out if you're going to be, because you've already said it's stressful. It sounds to me like you are better off living with that stress than out on your own. Is that right?
No, I guess I see your point on that one. No, not really. I'd like to buy an affordable home in my price range to where I'm not spending, you know, too much to get it into it.
Or I need to go a little bit longer. All right. So what kind of feedback do you guys have? If she was pushing back, what kind of feedback do you have based on that role play? Number one, do you feel it was realistic and that she was, she was actually being tougher? Do you feel it was realistic? Yes or no? We can talk, you guys. Just unmute yourself unless you're like in a rock concert.
I would say yes, that it was realistic. What I felt was that she wasn't sure whether she really wanted to buy a house. I mean, it was like her motivation. Where was her actual motivation? You kept trying to go back to her motivation, but she kept skirting around it. That's what I felt.
Which is precisely why I brought you can still live with your parents. That's an option.
Right, the pain, yeah. But I felt like she just wasn't sure she really wanted to buy a house, or maybe something else was going on. She didn't have enough down payment or something. I don't know.
Well, Jill, do you think was realistic? Have you had a buyer like that? It really, you're looking at 380,000, and now you're waiting for values to fall to 300,000. Have you had buyers that unrealistic?
You know, kind of. I've had to deal with 2 first-time home buyers. That was like my first month in real estate, and that's what I was gotten. They were only pre-qualified for 280, and it was like a struggle. And that's exactly the fight that I kept having to deal with. It's like, okay, but and I went that route. Like, hey, it is cheap to buy anything right now. It's like almost not free money, but the interest rates are really good, and we can't focus on that. But no, that first-time home buyers, it was tough, and I didn't win that race.
Yeah, I'll give you my opinion on this. I've said it before, and interest rates is a lever. I really don't think it's a big lever because in most people's minds, I mean, if you go back 10 years, they haven't seen interest rates above 5%. So they don't remember the dark ages when they were 14, 15, 16%. So it is a lever you can use. There's some stronger levers too. I'm going to open it up to anybody here on the call that I think you could have exploited some pain. Is there anyone here that has a burning question that you would have asked this buyer?
Certainly.
Go ahead, Moses.
Denny, how would you cure that? This week, I've been seeing everything is about the penny. Even in meetings, people are talking, it's just solely money. So if I met a seller who has private, her friends want to buy her property for maybe $150,000 to $200,000 over the neighborhood value, and she doesn't want to use an agent, but how would you cure that? My technique in that scenario was just, you don't want to be the only principal, when there's no one to blame in a lawsuit, because insurance can't even cover that if there's no principal. But how would you cope with this dollar thing? How are you getting around that? Like what she pointed out was money. I want my house to have the value. So how do we justify, them succeeding in getting a home, at this dollar rate value now?
All right. So I was doing my best to follow and understand what you're saying. Just go ahead and be that person and let's have a conversation. So you're a buyer, right?
I can be a buyer.
No,
Sure.
is that what are you a buyer or a seller?
I'm seeing it universal. I was talking to a seller.
Okay, and so give me your objection as a seller so I understand. I just want to get clarity.
Well, I have 4 offers for 975.
Okay,
So I'm moving right now. I don't need an agent.
I got it. So you're an unassisted seller?
Yes.
All right, so you have 4 offers right now and all of them are at 975?
Yep. And my neighborhood is 850.
All right, so that's awesome. So how do you feel about that?
I'm happy. I don't need an agent. I'm going to do it. Right now we're finishing up.
So you have 4 offers, all of them exactly at 975.
Yes.
Well, how many offers can you accept?
I'm only taking one, the one that's ready to close.
And how do you know they're ready to close?
Oh, because they're my friend. They're going to give me cash.
All right, no other contingencies?
Nope. I don't know. I'm moving. They're going to buy the property. That's all I know. And I'm happy because I'm getting a lot of money.
You're getting a lot of money, but how will you feel if you realize you left money on the table? Will you feel okay with that?
I'm not sure if I'm leaving any money on the table, but I think I'm happy because I'm getting so much money in for this house.
I got it. I mean, you're getting more than you would have thought. However, we had a seller in the same position, and then when we had a meeting with them just like this, we were able to get the seller $40,000 more. So is this a $40,000 friend you're selling to?
That's a really good question. I think I need to talk to my spouse about that because I really don't know anything other than, selling the house pretty much.
What if you had one 50-yard line Super Bowl ticket and it was the game of the year, and you had 4 people that wanted to buy it, and they all offered you basically $1,000 for it? What would be a strategic thing you could do?
I'd say, give me the $1,000.
To which one?
Whichever one is in front of me with $1,000 first. If someone stalls, I'm taking whoever's has $1,000.
I got that. So you're looking for ease. You want it to be easy rather than maximize your return. Is that true?
Yes, I'm leaving now. Time is an issue.
I got it. Wouldn't you even consider the fact, or maybe your wife might suggest this? Well, if there's 4 people willing to give $1,000, what if you said, why don't you give me your highest and best? Why wouldn't you now offer and see who would give you more than the $1,000? It's only a question.
Well, that might take me longer, and my wife might catch me pocketing an extra $100, so I can go out later.
All right. Well, I guess it could take longer. So if it took an extra day, would it be worth 40 grand?
For my ticket?
No, I'm going back to your house.
Okay. Yes, of course it would be worth 40 grand.
So what's your strategy of being able to handle multiple offers? I mean, with one buyer, it's pretty simple. You've got 4.
I like where you're going, and I think I'm interested in learning more, but how am I going to get the buyer to go along with giving me $40,000 more?
Well,
and then what about my fees? Won't that cut into my 975 and make it actually less?
Well, let's assume that I sell your house for more money, and then you put more money in your pocket, and it covers my fees, and I do all the work for you. Are you not further ahead?
Yes, I am. Can you really do that?
Well, I mean, I can tell you one thing for sure. It's not going to happen if you don't let me try it. So is it worth a try?
Definitely. I'd love to have an appointment with you and see if you can really make this possible.
All right, so I'll stop right there. Any comment on that?
No, that was perfect.
I doubt if it was perfect. You're really kind. It's not perfect. However, is it not a line of thinking? Is that what I want you to understand is that when sellers, if they have 4 offers, and what's the probability they're all at the same number? And, one's a cash. However, a seller doesn't know how to negotiate one offer, let alone 4. And you know what you have, then I could have gone down a couple of different avenues, but when you said they're all the same as my friend, blah, blah, blah. I mean, if you have 4 offers all the same and you have 4 people that want the homes, isn't it possible that somebody would pay more than that 975 or whatever it happened to be?
I like that.
What's your comments on that? Anybody?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, that's the route I always take it is I just use the could it be possible scenario. So when you say you've got 4 offers and they're all at 975, I say, well, could it be possible that somebody might be willing to pay more? And if I could show you a way to accomplish that, would you be interested? So it's perfect.
So now you've got 4 people that are willing to pay the same. What do you do? What's your strategy? You're now face to face with Moses. What's your strategy? We're getting a little off topic here because Denny just had a call come in. So what's your strategy? Moses, how would you handle it? You got somebody, you're sitting down with 4 offers. They're all 975 cash close in 30 days. No contingencies. They're exactly the same.
I really like where Denny went with the possibility of getting more and being safer.
Okay. Are you guys still experiencing multiple offers in your marketplaces now? Yes?
I think that, sure.
So you're getting multiple offers still? Good. So what's your strategy now, Moses? You're now face to face with that seller.
Okay, so we need to negotiate with 4 different offers. So if you have 4 offers, isn't it possible we might be able to get more offers at with higher profits? Or
How are you going to do that?
I'm going to list your property, hold it open, and market it in.
Well, let's talk about, you got 4 offers on the table right now.
Okay.
Okay. So how are you going to get those 4 offers to come off of their 975 cash, no contingency close in 30 days? They're all exactly the same. How are you going to determine which one is the best? We're taking your scenario with your particular seller a little deeper.
Well, first, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, first, I'm going to ask them what's most important. So if all dollars are the same, what other terms and conditions of this contract are important to you?
Excellent. Financing may or may not be important. Closing time frame may or may not be important.
Yeah,
So,
they might not care if they can close in 2. So say, hey, what else is most important to you? Where are you going when we sell this? And how soon do you need to be there? What's the latest date you need to be there? Okay, all right, now let's take a look at these contracts. Are they as is or do they have repair limits? Most cases are going to be on as is. Okay, so who's got the shortest home inspection period? And who do you think might not want to inspect the home? We got 4 offers. So, I mean, it's just find out what's most important.
So this goes down to, and Matthew, thank you. That was excellent. This goes down to highest and best, right? What we think of, if you get your real estate agent hat off, highest and best to us is not necessarily highest and best to the seller. Somebody may have an offer for $1.2 million with a financing contingency and the seller doesn't want it and they're willing to take $1 million because they're that scared of financing. So dig deep with the seller. Highest and best has 2 elements to it. Second part of it is how many have gone back and countered multiple offers with bring me your highest and best by this time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you think we're leaving money on the table with that?
From an agent's perspective, are we?
Well, think about it. Cheryl, you're nodding your head yes. How are we leaving money on the table?
Well, you are, because there could be a dropout also. Not everybody wants to get a bidding war and people will step out. Yeah. And that's, I always counsel my sellers on that because you're gambling at this point. So I think oftentimes it's best to counter the offers individually and see what they can come back with, because you're gonna have a drop off. We just had this. I had 10 offers on a property I sold, but the thing was the appraisal was the most critical thing.
Okay. So Denny's coming back here, so we'll get his blink on this too. I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on this particular strategy for Moses' seller.
Yeah,
you send it out and you counter all the agents exactly the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Here, and Cheryl, this works for your 10. It says, here are the terms and conditions for our best offer. This is what's most important to the seller. if you would like to revise your offer, please revise it by certain time frame, say 5 p.m. tonight. You're not committing to taking anybody's offer.
Right.
You're just saying, hey, this is 975 we like, cash we like, quick close, no inspection. If you'd like to make a revision, we will consider it up until 5 o'clock. You might find, to Matthew's point, you might find somebody drops out, right? You might have 3 of them come back and say, hey, I'm willing to do $1 million, $1,050,000, whatever. So and then now you start separating the wheat from the chaff. Then the next conversation with the seller becomes, do we do this again? Are we creating an eBay scenario here? And again, Matthew, goes right back to what you were saying. Ask the seller deep questions, find out what's most important to them. When you do that, you can then go ahead and position their counter. The highest and best tends to leave money on the table because you don't necessarily know if it truly is their highest. And so just think about that strategy a little bit. Welcome back.
Thanks. So what's next?
So one thing I wanted to add to that is with Cheryl, what Cheryl was saying is I completely agree, especially in a market like this where it's starting to transition ever so slightly. And even in the market we just came out of, highest and best can be a very poor way to lose a lot of offers. So as we just, I don't know if we're beating the horse dead with that, but I always go back to the seller, and as I'm doing the digging deeper, peeling the onion back, they'll sometimes ask me, well, what do you think we should do? And I said, well, I always ask, how would you feel if we lost 75% of these offers? Would you be disappointed? And if they would, then that's when I say, well, how would you feel about going, like we just discussed, going back to each offer and saying, and not even one of my attorney friends always said, never show your cards. So never just inadvertently ask for highest and best, but go to them and say, hey, we have multiple offers. Can you give your client a call and just find out if they'd like to make any changes, as you said, and, by X time. And then I'll just go down the line and I'll call each agent. Hey, we got multiple offers on it. Can you please call your client? Just find out if they'd like to make any changes before the seller makes any decisions. And
So,
then
Matthew,
that, go ahead.
Matthew, let me role play that with you. I'm going to be the agent. You call me.
Okay, so I've got the offers and you're the buyer's agent?
I'm one of the buyer's agents. Yep.
Okay, awesome. Hey, Denny, I appreciate you sending in the offer. We actually received 6, and I just wanted to find out if this is your client's best offer, if they'd like to make any modifications at all.
You have 5 other offers, Matt?
Yes, sir.
So this is real world. Okay, so let me ask you this question. Are any from you?
Good question. One is from me.
Are any other than that one from your office?
No, sir.
Now, what's interesting, okay, so, we've got a good reputation, Matt. I know it's kind of a difficult position for you. I know you're playing it down the middle, right?
Yes, sir.
And you want to do the best for the seller.
Absolutely.
Of the things that I put on my offer, other than price, is there anything there that's problematic for the seller? Closing date, escrow, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, typically, with my listings, I always ask that we have at least a 2.5% earnest money deposit, but it looks like your clients are putting that down. The only other thing that might persuade the seller to accept an offer is the closing date. They don't have to pay capital gains after November 8th. And I see that, your clients are somewhere around there. So again, going back to the original question, do you foresee that they'd like to make any changes to the offer, or can you give them a call and find that out?
Happy to do that. I would just like to be able to hit if I only have one more shot, Matt, I would like to be able to hit it into the seller's court. Can you tell me if I'm competing against cash offers?
There are 2 cash offers.
I got it. So basically, if I let the sellers fill in the closing date past the November 8th and everything else is fine, then this is really, would it be fair to say this is coming down to a price negotiation?
Yeah, it could, and I'm, if it's a financing buyer, I'm not 100% confident that it would appraise for much more. So, I'm assuming that we're role playing that your buyer's financing.
Yes, my buyer's
so-
is financing. So I get
Yeah,
that. All right.
So
And-
if that's, I don't know if it appraised for more, that'd be my other concern.
So let's assume there's no appraisal contingency.
I think that might be a great avenue for us to go down.
And last question, is there anything else that you would be willing to share with me that might help me make my offer the very, very best for your seller? Don't even answer that. Here's what did you learn on what I did? What I did was very strategic, you guys.
Hmm.
Now,
Yeah,
was that a realistic conversation, Matt, that you and I had?
Not with any
Yes.
agent I've ever spoken to, but
Yes. No, is that a realistic conversation with an agent that has 40 years experience?
Yes, I think so.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
you hit the nail on the head. I mean, my father-in-law, those are the conversations we have with agents when we call about our offers. But that's why I was like shaking my head as you're talking, because I'm like, oh, these are all questions that I would ask. So no, I mean, that is phenomenal. I call it kind of like reverse psychology on the listing agent, because the listing agent thinks they're going to call and say, oh, highest and best, or bring me a better offer, and you peeled the onion back and represented your client's best interest, which is huge.
Yeah, I felt like the buyer's agent kind of took control on that. I feel like the seller kind of lost that, and the buyer agent kind of took the ball in his court and kind of played it.
Yeah. And I think that Cheryl, you had a comment too. What were you thinking?
Oh, no, I mean, I do the same. I would do the same thing and have done that as an experienced agent, where you're asked, they will tell you, they will just vomit everything out to you that you need to find out for your seller, usually, in order to navigate around what you're going to counter with. So I love that you asked, is your office representing? I always ask that first out, always.
Well, we have a right to ask that via code of ethics.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's correct.
And
Correct.
to add to, we actually have to disclose that as well. That's why, I've had agents before try to lie to me about that.
Mhm.
And where are you, Matt?
I'm in Bradenton,
Okay,
just north of you guys.
got it.
So, question for you, Denny. There was one question that when you that do you have any other offers, was one of them yours. How come you didn't ask, are they receiving a discount in commission for you bringing your own offer?
I didn't think of that question. One could ask that. And that's an interesting question. Probably, and it is a legal question to ask. Is this a variable rate commission? Most likely the agent's going to say, what do you mean?
And then we have to explain it to them.
That would have been a good question. Now, there was one question to understand that there's one question I did not even approach with him. What was it?
What's the price?
Why didn't I ask that? Because Cheryl, you're right. Some people are going to just keep talking. Now, he was talking and I knew that. Why didn't I ask that question?
Well, I mean, he technically can't disclose that. He shouldn't disclose that.
Unless you have the seller's permission.
Unless he has a seller's permission, but he also, I mean, if I was the seller's agent, I don't think you'd want to do that, because you're going to leave money on the table potentially.
Well, exactly. And he has an offer in. So I used every question except the one John asked that I think would be relevant. And did I learn something as the buyer's agent by asking questions that would maybe help me win?
Certainly.
So that was a great little thing, Matt. I'm glad you actually had that. I would have never thought about that kind of a role play. However, there is a skill in what we do.
Mhm.
There is a skill in what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That was great. And it's, I think that it's an invaluable tool coming out of the market. Well, in the market that we're in the market that we're coming out of, because we're still experiencing multiple offers. And it's about, just like we talked about before with the offers, finding out what's most important to the seller. As a buyer's agent, it's about finding, it's asking those same questions to find out what's important to them so that your client can win, versus just, let's throw out no appraisal contingency, a quick closing and $10,000 more dollars. That's not always going to win.
We haven't done this in a while, John. So why don't we do this? Let me just go back and I'm going to role play with you, John. You're the buyer.
Okay.
And what was the, give me the list price, Matt, on the house that our offer's in on.
$495.
Okay. And let's say we offered 505. All right, John, hey, I just heard back from another agent. So a couple things. One is there's 6 offers in right now. So far.
What do you mean so far?
Well, there could have been another offer come in since I hung up.
Ooh, okay.
Now, again, very strategic. When you be careful on when you're giving this information out, could another offer have come in? And now instead of 6 offers, they have 8 or 10, right? So I'm doing my best to maintain my credibility, and it might create a little urgency as well. So there's 5 other offers. So I had a conversation with the other agent, and this is what I've learned. Number one, the listing agent is representing one of the buyers. So
Okay.
that might be an inside track. Number 2 is everything in our offer, aside from price, looks pretty good except the closing date. They want to close off after November 8th because of capital gains. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, if that makes the difference, that's fine.
Okay. Secondly, because they're concerned about appraisal, we've talked about that before. You're putting down a good down payment. We'll have to basically eliminate the appraisal contingency. Are you okay with that?
What's my risk?
Well, means if it doesn't appraise, you still have to buy it.
Okay, so I may have to come up with, if it appraises for 500, I got to come up with an extra 5,000. That's okay, no problem.
Well, you're putting 30% down, so
Yeah,
it's
it's
probably
okay.
not a cash issue. So, all right, so it really is going to be a number issue. So now here's where the role play starts. This was a different intro. We've never done it like this. We've got one more shot. This is like a sealed bid auction, John. This is going to be a price negotiation. We're at 505. I don't know where the other ones are. There's cash offers out there. So let me ask you, what's the most you're willing to pay for this house?
I'm not sure, Denny. That's one of the questions I've got is, you said the listing agent has another offer in there. How do we know that they're not going to favor that offer because it's theirs? I read something happened, ironically off script for a second, happens to be in Matthew's area. Read of something where an agent didn't present multiple offers because they had an offer on a property.
Allegedly.
What'd you say, Matthew?
I said allegedly.
Allegedly, yes. Although it did close anyway.
Yeah.
So, what recourse do we have if this agent does that?
It doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is you have one shot. What we can't control, what we can control. The only thing you control is what you offer, and it has to be your very best. What are you willing to pay for this home?
Do you think 515 is fair?
It doesn't really matter what I think. I'm just asking you if you think, is that your best number?
Can I interject for a second?
Are you helping me with the negotiation here? No, what do you want to say?
So I like to ask it this way. John, what price would you be willing to pay and wake up tomorrow and not feel disappointed by it?
Yeah, well, you're getting ahead of me.
You're on page 3. He's on page 2.5.
Oh, go ahead then. All right.
Yeah,
Just
so
I'm trying to help.
you're going to the end of the book. So,
This is almost scripted out, this entire role player, Matt.
yeah, so a lot of people haven't heard this yet. So, all right, so what is your top number?
515.
Now, this is one thing I add, Matt. I'm gonna see if you like it or not. So let me ask you this. So let's say you go in at 515 and we find out a month later, when we don't get the home, we find out later it closed at 516. How will you feel?
Over $1,000, pissed,
Why?
because it's $1,000. I could have come up with $1,000.
Then 515 wasn't your best, then was it?
What are you, my basketball coach?
What's your best?
525.
Okay, same question. You find out it closed for 526. How do you feel?
You know what? I'm okay with it at 526 because I really don't even want to pay 525.
Now, Matt, see, I take them through that exercise because sometimes the first number they say isn't really their best. I take it away from them for $1,000, and that's a conversation I have.
I like that. Yeah, most definitely. So it's like a 3-step process versus I try to do it in a 1 and I probably don't get the right answer when I do it at the 1.
You probably are not getting the best. But however, when you take it away from them for a small amount of money, now there is another step that I sometimes do, and I'll just do it really fast. And some people get uncomfortable with this, but however, I'm worried about long-term, relationships with my clients long-term. So, all right, so we're going to go in at 525. Let's assume, congratulations, you bought the house, right? You moved in, you're happy. And now a month later, you're actually, walking through the grocery store at a checkout line and you happen to see in front of you 2 people is the seller of the home. Now, they don't recognize you, you recognize them, and you hear the seller say this to the cashier. Well, I tell you what, this real estate market sure is hot. I had my house listed for $495. I had 6 offers. The highest one was like 510. And then this other guy, this idiot, came in at 525. Wow, I love this country. How will you feel?
Would you be disappointed?
That's the question. How will you feel?
Oh, I would be annoyed because I could have got it for 515.
Okay, well then, is that what you want to offer?
Well, you asked me what my best was.
Right.
So yeah, I wanted to offer 515, but you asked me what my best was.
Well, you paid 525, but you got the house. You offered 515 and didn't get the house. When do you want? What's your number?
I would rather pay 525 and get that house and not have to go to the grocery store.
Now you're blameless. Now you're blameless. Now here's the whole motto is, and write this down, is keep your fingerprints off the price.
And
Power.
Carla, this is specifically for your question. All right. This is exactly why you want to keep your DNA off of pricing. What if they ask you, what would you offer? So Denny, what would you offer?
Right now you're asking me as the agent?
Yeah, we'll go right back into the role play. So Denny, I understand where you're going. What would you offer if you were me?
Well, if I like the house as much as you do, I would offer my best.
Carla got it. Look at that smile. Notice there is no number. There's no suggestion of number.
Do not say a number. Write that down. Get a tattoo on your forehead. Do not say a number. Why, you guys? Why?
Because of the 3 scenarios.
Liability.
It's really expectations. When they lose the house and they use your number,
It's your fault.
it's your fault.
Yep. And
When they find out that they paid 5% more for the house because that's your number, guess what? It's your number. You owned it.
It creates ownership
Yep.
all the way.
And when they win the house and they move in and the market corrects, and this happened after 07, when the market corrects and the home is worth 5% less in 6 months, you're no longer the agent they know and trust. If you recommended them buy it at that price. So even though you had nothing to do with it, you lose the client forever because of something you had nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with.
Yep.
Now, Sefran, you asked a question. I'm going to come to you just for a second. I don't always get a straight answer when it comes to any of those offers, yours or your office. That's in the code of ethics. They have to answer that.
I recognize that. Yeah.
So if they don't answer that, I have to go back and read it. I think you have a right to call and find out.
Yep, you can call their broker, and their broker, if you feel that they're not being truthful, their broker will disclose to them or have to call them and verify.
I just have a question, I guess a lame question. It says, are any of those offers yours or your office? Why are we asking that? Because you're seeing if they're competing with your offer, so they might not take your offer because they're trying to get the house themselves, kind of like do not ethical type stuff. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, I'm assuming everyone is ethical. However, if they have an inside track, I want to know.
Denny, I recently had this happen, and we lost our offer, which was a full cash offer, quick close, no appraisal, 50,000 over asking. And we lost it. I won't go into particulars since this is live on Facebook. However, what I did request afterwards was that the seller do sign the rejected offer. Because if nothing else, I wanted to make sure that they actually did see our offer. But I did poke and prod and say, I'd like to see that back.
Right? You can request it. I don't think they have any obligation to do that.
Well,
Yeah.
on my buyer's behalf for their files.
I get that. You can request it. However, they don't have there's not a legal obligation or an code of ethics obligation that they have to sign a rejected offer unless something's changed in the last year.
No,
No,
exactly.
I agree, but it was sort of my little nudge of just in case hey, heads up, I think I smell something here.
Right.
No, I think it's an awesome thing to do, but they could just tell you to pound sand and you don't have any recourse.
Right.
So I like the idea. And if you guys aren't familiar with the code of ethics, I started teaching it a long time ago. So I taught it for like 20, 25 years. So I know it really well. I know it's evolved a little bit over the last 5 or 6 years where I missed some of the nuances. However, if you haven't, and I know in Florida, you have to take it every couple, although it's national, you have to take it every couple of years.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, so it's worth knowing because there's a lot of nuance in the code of ethics that give you some advantages if you know what's going on. So awesome. So that was great, Matt. Thanks for participating, really. So we have 10 minutes. How do you want to use it? If someone can stump us, give us something hard, come on.
Oscar's thinking up there. I can see the wheels turning.
Oscar, come on, with a name like that, you've got to have something that you know. What do you want to talk about, Oscar?
Well, I haven't really had a lot of experiences. Actually, this is my 7th day officially as a realtor, so I haven't really had a bunch of experiences as far as with clients, barely getting some clients in, but I'm very intrigued by these role plays and future experiences I might encounter, so I was just thinking of a hard scenario, but nothing's coming to mind right now.
That's okay. Have you taken any notes?
Any notes? Mental notes, yeah, especially that tattoo you told me about.
Okay.
Let me get something to show Oscar here. So Oscar, you said you're 7 days in?
So you're not
Yeah.
a rookie anymore.
So get yourself a book like this, all right?
Okay.
And every meeting you go to, write stuff down. Because as much as you think you're going to remember everything, guess what? You won't.
I'm writing notes too, because you guys say some things, it makes me think of some things, and I'm still learning. So anyway, yeah, it's good advice.
Write it down.
Definitely.
So
Awesome. Okay.
let's let somebody else. What is your favorite role play that you'd like to do? Why don't you guys show off? Who would like to show off a little bit as we end this one? You're doing it for the group here and the AOL, the Facebook group out there. I guess they're up and running.
Dating yourself out there. Denny.
Yeah, well, yes. The Facebook is up and alive again. So who would like to show off on a role play?
What are we going to role play?
Your choice.
Whatever you're strongest at, Matt.
Are you a listing agent?
I am. And in my area, you know Michael Burke.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Mike Burke is like a brother of mine. And when COVID hit last year, I got brought on by one of the market centers down by you all to coach a class, because up here I'm supposedly really good at scripts. So I like them all, but man, being put on the spot, I'm not sure.
Okay. Actually, you know what, Matthew? I think you were down in Naples, weren't you?
No, well, I'm just north of you all, like Sarasota, Manatee.
I know, Bradenton, yeah.
But yeah, I did a class down there.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you one, Matt. Here we go.
Okay.
I'm a seller. We're at the table.
Hmm.
I'm going to give you a commission script. Hey, look, see, you're charging 6. The other people said they'd do it for less.
How do you think it would benefit you to offer an inferior commission?
Your commission.
Well, it's all about saving money, right, Matt?
Absolutely. What do you get if the home doesn't sell?
No, it's impossible.
It's impossible. Okay. Let's just play devil's advocate for a second.
Okay.
What do you get if it doesn't sell?
Well, you're asking me what happens if I fall out of bed and I don't hit the floor.
Well, you get, so if you don't sell, we don't get anything, right?
Yeah, but it's going to sell. You know, it sells in this market. This is white hot. This is the GOAT. This is the Tom Brady market.
Yeah, it is. But could it be possible that the market's changing ever so slightly?
Sure.
And would you be surprised if you found out that I've listed properties that have yet to have an offer on them in 3 weeks?
And you're bragging about that?
Oh, absolutely not. No, not at all. But 90% of the money is earned by 10% of the realtors, and the average realtor sells about 2 to 3 homes a year. I'm very blessed to be in a position where I sell 50 to 100. So unfortunately, every once in a while, I'm going to get caught up in a market shift just like everybody else. So let's paint a picture. Let's say that you are one of those agents that only sells 2 to 3 homes a year. Okay. And this market's beating the hell out of a lot of people, and you got to show property this weekend. Okay. And you got to show 3 listings. You got a 2%, you got a 3%, and you got a 4%. Which one are you going to show first?
Well, I would, obviously, being as a business person, I think ethically you got to show them all, but secretly I'd want to, the one I made the most money on probably.
Absolutely. And which one would you steer away from like the plague?
Yeah, but I'm not expecting to discount the buyer's agent fee. I want it to be 3%. I want to discount your fee.
Okay, sure. Let's talk about that. So
I could be Freddy Krueger.
So let's talk about that. So I've got in front of you, Denny, I've got 6 cards. Okay. There's an 89% chance that 3 of those cards are going to go to a buyer's agent to bring a ready, willing, and able buyer to buy your home. Okay. And that leaves us 3 cards on our side of the table, right?
You're saying cards like playing cards?
Like playing cards. Exactly.
Okay. All right. I'm with you.
So we got 3 playing cards on our side of the table now.
Okay.
One of those cards pays Keller Williams Realty. Okay. Cause it costs a lot of money to be in business with the #1 brokerage in the world. Okay. The second card goes to my marketing and advertising budget. Okay. Which is what I use to get my clients' homes sold. Okay. And that leaves me 1 card to feed my family and keep a roof over their head. But really it's about half a card because I gotta pay taxes to Uncle Sam. Where would you like me to cut?
Well, let me ask you, typically, how long does it take you to sell a house, Matt?
My average market time's 20 days.
So is a half a card worth a couple of weeks work?
What do you mean?
Well, you're going to do it so fast and it's going to be an easy sale for you. So, I get it. You're a nice guy, but the other people said they do it for less. So I'm just saying, I think I can save money.
Sure. when the other people said they did it less, how hard did you have to prod them?
Well, one of them was a firm that specializes in that's their model. They just charge a flat 5%. And the other firm that came in, they said that they would do it for 4.5. So I asked them to do that.
So
I'm a pretty good negotiator.
yeah, it sounds like it. So if a firm's only value proposition to get your business is by cutting their value, how hard are they going to fight for your value when there's offers on the table?
So, I don't know you, Matt. I don't know that I've ever met you. I don't know if this is the first time you've been on the call, but let's talk in terms of what you saw there that you liked. I was not easy on him, and obviously he's prepared. I'll just start. I like him already because he uses my question-based style. He used a nice little twist on the dollar bill. He used playing cards instead of the dollar bill, which is kind of cool. I got that. Very strong visual, by the way. And then he went into, when I gave him the commission objection, again, he went back into the power of negotiations. And we've done that before several different times. So what were y'all's thoughts? John, what were your thoughts? And anybody else here as we close out? Matt, nice job.
Thank you.
I thought he did a great job. The one thing that I think he could have done is incorporate a story about other services, because what
I thought so too.
Denny's looking for in this point is somebody who's going to discount. So Denny, I don't know if you ever have, just let's pretend you have. Denny, have you ever had a surgery before?
Yes.
Yeah, I had my whole shoulder replaced. I kind of feel like I'm halfway to Terminator at this point. How did you choose your surgeon?
They were in what do you call that? In my medical plan.
Oh, awesome. So they obviously had a great reputation. In order to be part of an insurance plan like that, you need to be able to have a good reputation and had an awful lot of schooling and an awful lot of experience to be able to get to that level. How long did the surgery take?
40 minutes.
Interesting. 40 minutes. Do you know what the insurance bill was for that?
No. I didn't see the bill.
You didn't have to worry about it. I know that when I had mine done, it was $40,000 for them to replace my shoulder. I was happy to have the surgeon charge $40,000, not the one that charged $10,000.
How do you know?
It's all based on reputation, don't you think? Would you sleep better at night knowing a $40,000 surgeon was being paid for his experience and knowledge versus the brand new surgeon for $10,000?
Well, there's another example. There's this little story you could tell. So let's give Matt a couple of ahas. Keep going.
Oh, sorry, Denny. I didn't mean to interrupt. That's actually, I have a 4-step approach. That's my 4th step. So I hit them with how will it benefit you if it doesn't, or to offer an inferior commission. And then I go into talking about the agents and what the value proposition will be. Then I show them the 6 cards, and then I hit them with have you ever had surgery? Yeah, I've had surgery, and it's pretty serious, right? Well, this isn't real surgery. This is financial surgery. So, but when you were getting surgery, did you just choose the surgeon that would do it for the least amount of money? Or did you want the one that had done it 10,000 times and could do it blindfolded on a Sunday night?
Right.
Yep.
That's nice. Well, I'll tell you what, this was an awesome call. One thing that again, one of my mindsets before you sign off, you guys, is this. And we could do this a lot of different ways. I love the fact you guys are question-based. That's where the power is. And here's my mindset. When someone wants to basically negotiate on fee, it's a cool conversation when you say, well, how about if I don't charge you anything? Would you hire me? And that is a cool conversation. We'll have that next week.
I was going to say we can cover that one next week.
Yeah.
We don't want to give them everything in week 1, but
nope. Cover that next week.
If I was free, would you hire me?
So you guys are awesome. Thanks so much for being on the call, and have an awesome week. And in the words of Hill Street Blues, if you remember that show, be careful out there.
See you, gang.
Thanks.
Thanks, Denny.